Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is yet another day, a new day, a bright Sunday, the day that the Lord has made, that we should all be glad and rejoice in it. It's a bright Sunday indeed. We here in the UK are enjoying the weather. I was just looking out there to see that are we envious of those in the sun now? Not at all, not at this moment. But when it comes to the winter, that is when we will wish to come home. But today the sun is really shining, and we thank God for giving us that day, a bright day like this. Today, yet is another episode coming to your doorsteps from Richmond Media. It's about very important topic that everyone wishes to hear of: maintaining the health of cervix. That is bringing to you from Health Issues at Richmond Media. Please stay tuned with us, and I'm sure you will benefit from this program. Ask your family members to join us. Send the message, the link to everyone that you know, every woman, every man, because the man can advise the lady as well. So everyone is invited to this program, this educative program, creating awareness and then promoting health to the whole world. Today with me, I have my own brother Ackon George with me. Brother Ackon, you're welcome back again to Richmond Media.
Thank you.
How are you today?
I'm highly having good health
We
by
thank
divine
God.
selection.
We thank God for that. And to our viewers, we thank you for coming back again to this program on Richmond Media. We really appreciate your time and everything that you are doing to make sure that this program comes on successfully, because without you, who will be listening to the program? So you are the reason why we are here. So we do acknowledge you at this moment. If you are here, please don't forget to send us a comment so that we'll be able to recognize you. Thank you so much for watching us. Tell everyone to come on board. Brother Ackon, we will start the program by knowing what a cervix is, please.
Okay, thank you. We want to use this opportunity to once again welcome our viewers and our listeners as well. Coming to or spending your credits, come online to just listen and watch us is a gift that you are offering us. So we welcome each and every one. David said something in Psalm 103, verse 2 and 3 says that, let my whole being bless the Lord and never forget all his deeds. How God forgives all sins, heals all your sickness. As we are about to talk about the maintaining the health of the service, we know that some people are also suffering from these conditions or conditions affecting the service. And at this time, they might be losing hope. I want to encourage everyone that never lose hope because we serve a God that heals. Okay, to the question, when we talk about the service, one is part of the female reproductive system. So it means only females have cervix. Male don't have cervix. The cervix is a fibrous muscular organ that forms a canal. A canal means like a tube between the lower and narrow end of your uterus. The uterus is what we call simple term like your womb and the vagina. So in a summary or a layman's view, the cervix is like the canal that lies between the vagina and the womb. The cervix, again, by God's grace, has its length to be like 2 to 3 centimeters. But by God's grace, in a miraculous way, when you are about to deliver, it shortens so that the fetus or the baby can come out. The cervix is also inside the pelvic cavity anywhere between 3 to 6 inches. Then again, your cervix, your vagina, your uterus, and they are located just behind your bladder. They are located just behind your bladder and in front of your rectum and anus. So if you want to talk about the overview of the cervix, it means that certain structures also are involved. But the main thing to note is that cervix is the canal between your vagina and the uterus. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Ackon, for giving us this in-depth explanation or definition for the cervix. So what are the importance of the cervix at all?
Okay. You realize that our main duty as human beings is to note the importance of a body part or the human machinery, the system, so that we can be able to maintain it well. Now, looking at this cervix, the first important role that it plays is that the lining of the cervix contains something we call the gland, and that gland produce and release mucus. Mucus here we will say like a sticky fluid like something. What the mucus does is that it prevents bacteria from spreading into the other organs of the reproductive system. So that's the first important. So it serves as a protective to the reproductive system or the organ by this mucus. Now during menstruation, the cervix opens slightly because when you take the cervix, we have two openings. We have the internal opening that we call the internal os, and that internal os, it opens into the uterus, and we have the external opening or the external os. The external os also open into the vagina. So during menstruation, the opening, we will say the external os or the internal os will open it so that the fluid, the menses can come out through it out as a form of menstruation. Then also aside after menstruation, let's say the woman was able to ovulate. Ovulation means that the matured egg being released. During ovulation, this cervix, the mucus that was produced in the lining of the mucus during menstruation, ovulation allows the potential sperm from the man that will be able to maneuver its way to pass through into the uterus to be able to meet with the egg, the matured egg. Then what we call fertilization will occur, then it will lead to pregnancy. Now, when a woman gets pregnant, this cervical mucus, that sticky thing, when you get pregnant, it becomes thick. It becomes thick. What is its role there? Then it will form something like a plug, like a defense mechanism. Then that plug in the cervical canal will prevent bacteria and other viruses from entering into the womb, the uterus, to affect the fetus. So it again serves an important role during pregnancy. So any abnormality that will occur and interfere with this plug that the body guide will lead to its opening. Then you can have miscarriage and other conditions, preterm and co. Then also during pregnancy, by God's grace, this cervix becomes firmer and stronger to be able to protect the fetus in the uterus. Then childbirth. During childbirth, this cervix, as it forms the plug to prevent any bacteria from entering, this plug will just get off. Then we call something like the show, the fluid like you see. Then it will need to dilate. The cervix dilate means it will need to open. That's why when a pregnant woman visit the labor unit, they will say, "Oh, you are not about to go into labor." It's like 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters, and it's able to dilate or open up to 10 centimeters for the fetus or the baby cell to be able to pass through. So dilatation, when it opens up to that 10 centimeters, that's what we call the full dilatation. And that time, the cervix now becomes flexible. for the fetus to come out. So when you notice this important role, being protecting your internal reproductive organs, helping you in fertility, pregnancy playing a major role, then also during your childbirth, also playing this major role, then it's our duty to always thank God, our women, to thank God for creating this internal defense mechanism for you. Then it's your responsibility to also maintain itself to prevent you from so many conditions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this moment, we would like to acknowledge Brother George Owusu. Brother George Owusu says, good afternoon, everyone. Does the transgender also have a cervix, please? Brother George, from George to George.
Okay. Yeah, you realize that this one is purposely designed from onset of creation. So anyone who wants to interfere with nature's ability, you realize that you can do any of that sort. But from the creator's point of view, you hardly get these things. So we advise everyone that maintain your gender, and that will save us. Thank you.
Because sometimes we hear that some of the transgenders, they do have, they give birth. If this happens, then I think that's one of the reasons why Brother George is asking this question. Ladies and gentlemen, I think my brother is already showing up. Yeah. As usual, handsome. You know, I've got handsome brothers. You see, he was tidying out there. So at this moment, I would like to ask you acknowledge or recognize our own brother, Mr. Maxwell Owusu. Brother Maxwell, you're welcome to Richmond Media.
Thank you very much for having me, and thanks to all our viewers and listeners.
Thank you. I think we just finished the importance of cervix, which Brother Ackon has highlighted on that. But I don't know if you were listening and if you have any additional suggestion or
I
comment
was
or
listening.
contribution to it.
I was listening, and then I believe he has said it all because he took the time to discuss the functions. So I think he has done a very good job.
Thank you. Okay, thank you so much, Brother Maxwell and Brother George. So if we then continue from there, that's the main question, how can we as women, but when I say we, it's not though, it's us, it's our property, yeah, it's our organ. However, you need that organ to satisfy yourself. You need that organ to be able to maintain whatever you give to us, all the nutrient that you pour in us. You need that organ to hold it so that it will maintain the journey of conception to delivery. So, how can we, both men and women, help to maintain the health of the cervix? Thank you.
Okay. I know Brian Maxwell will also come in, but you know that when it comes to maintaining the health, as you rightly said, it's not just only a one-sided responsibility. It's a dual responsibility. Remember that the main focus or anything that can affect the health when it comes to sexually transmitted infection, it's not only one part that will go and have that sexually transmitted infection. So it means it plays a role. By maintaining the health of the cervix, I want to tackle that one. You need to be careful and maintain the personal hygiene. Personal hygiene is a key. So we need to encourage and educate our dear women, our younger children, how to maintain their personal hygiene when it comes to vaginal care. Vaginal care here means that the way of washing our vulva. When you are washing or cleaning, let's try as much as possible to educate them, our dear women, lovely women, to note that when you are cleaning, especially when you visit the washroom or when you are washing, please don't clean from back to front, which means don't clean from your anal part, your anus to your vulva. No. When it happens like that, you will have more infection from that part to the sterile place, but rather clean from front then backwards. That's the proper way. Then we need to make sure that we don't be inserting any harmful things inside the external part we are able to see. So maintaining the vagina or the hygiene, the vulvar hygiene is very key and paramount. Then another thing that I will talk about is faithfulness. Being faithfulness. Our dear men, let's be faithful to our wives. Our dear men, let's be faithful to our wives, because if you are a sex addict or having sex with so many people, you might have some infection and bring to your lovely wife in the house. At the same time, our dear women, be also faithful to your husband, so that you be faithful to each other, and by so doing, you not be exposed to any of the sexually transmitted infections which will predispose you in getting the complicated form of the cervical issues. Then I will talk about our dietary aspect. You realize that whatever you eat makes you. So as a woman, I will encourage that make sure you resist from certain foods that will predispose you to obesity. So like the refined foods, like the refined products and the junks, refined sugar, you eat those things, the more you are at risk of getting these conditions. So you need to be very careful. Then also, let's be eating variety of fruit and variety of vegetables. So you know your area you are, the country you are in, the particular and variety of the fruit there, be mindful and be eating them. And you know where you are, the variety of the vegetables there, be able to be eating them, because what will be common in my area will not be common at your area. When we try to be eating those things, our immunity will be stronger to be able to fight against these conditions. But one thing is that if you are a woman, your very friend that you need to take is avocado pear. Avocado pear. Avocado pear is something that helps maintain the health of the womb, the uterus as well. So you realize that even the seed in it looks like how you are able to deliver. And when you read into avocado and its benefits, you realize that as a female, a woman just get pregnant and takes 9 months to deliver, avocado is able to also take 9 months to bear fruit for us. And the more you eat them, the more you take each seed, the more healthier your reproductive organ, not necessarily only the cervix, is being maintained. So when you try to go by these things, try to be eating the natural spices and co. It will help you, and make sure you are not constipated, because you know it's in front of the rectum as well. So the more you are constipated, the more impure your blood becomes. And when your blood becomes impure, unhealthy blood will be produced into your cervix, and it will end up harboring so many infections or inability to fight against so many conditions. Then when it comes to urine, you know it has a linkage with your bladder. So if you are a woman and you also keep harboring urine, I'm able to retain urine for longer hours, by the time you realize that urinary infection might travel from there then to other surrounding organs affecting you. This is what I want to say for now. Well, Maxwell, maybe you have something to add.
Okay. Thank you very much. What I want to add up is something that I think our ladies have taken for granted. We have to be very mindful of this particular thing. You see, the cervix is okay. Let me say, before you get to the cervix, you would have to go through the vagina, and if you do not take good care of the vagina, as Brother George has already put forth, you might be exposing yourself to harming your cervix. And the reason I am saying you have to care for your vagina or that cavity is this. You see, by God's design, He has made it that that uh, cavity should be covered or have a lip that closes, and it's at only at certain points that the labia, the opening of the vagina, um, sets bare or it's open in instances of um, sexual intercourse and urination. So it is a fact, and it is proven that there exists some kind of natural microbe in that area, known as the normal flora. They are bacteria and microorganisms that help maintain the health and the serenity of that environment. And then it has been realized through research that so when that area is exposed to unfavorable conditions, then it becomes a problem for the individual. So um, some of the ladies may attest to the fact that maybe they have been having recurrent infection. They get it. An example is the candida infection. So it's a normal flora, but then if it gets into unconducive environment, like conditions, then it begins to fight or cause havoc to its environs. And the reason I am bringing this up is that most of our ladies think um, they can just take any apparel or dress anyhow. You see, just as that cavity is closed, we can liken it onto our oral cavity, our mouth. You see, it needs to be closed. It cannot be opened all along, like all through the day. You might have dryness, soreness, itch, and a whole lot. But some of the ladies they dress in a way to just expose themselves, and then it has been realized that you can see that the condition of the vagina is always um, not being maintained because there's an influx of air throughout the day. So it has been realized that the type of dressing can even affect the health of the vagina and subsequently affect the health of the cervix. Because if you do not dress properly and then air is going in and out, it will cause the environment of those normal flora not to be conducive. It has to have a certain temperature for them to be able to work well. You see, and when they are subjected to these changes in humidity and temperature, you will see that you'll be having problems. So most of the ladies have been having recurrent vaginal infection, and they don't know why. I can say that you have to check that area too. You have to check how you dress, and make sure you don't expose your vaginal orifice, that cavity, to air, because just as you can't open your mouth all along throughout the day, that cannot be done. And the internal environment of the cavity needs to be in a certain condition, and whenever it's closed and air is not going in and out, it is being maintained. The body has its way of maintaining it. So our ladies might have overlooked dressing, especially in a way that exposes them, that gets air in and out of their vaginal orifice, and it has been realized through research that that has been a major risk for recurrent vaginal infection. And we can all attest to the fact that if the vagina is infected subsequently, like over and over and over, it will tend to affect the cervix. So we should be mindful of that. We've talked of not certain things. We shouldn't also self-medicate. We shouldn't be putting antibiotics over there. No, the only thing you have to do, I believe, Brother George, is to just wash. You can do that with warm water. That will be helpful for you than inserting all these detergents and more corrosive substances over there. But please be mindful. Yes, yes. But please be very mindful of your dressing, because you might be having recurrent infection. You treat, it will go, and then it will come back. You didn't know why, but then it can be from the way you expose yourself. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that in-depth explanation. So at this point, if we know how we can take care of it, what are the implications of neglecting to maintain the health of the cervix?
Okay. The moment you fail to perform your responsibility, it will bring a chaos, a disorder within your system and every place you find yourself. Therefore, if both the man refuse to help the woman to maintain the health of the cervix, you can have what we call inflammation of the cervix. The cervix can be inflamed. That's what we call the cervicitis. The inflammation will be the inflammatory process that will go on. This is how the inflammatory process can come. You realize that there is this STI, sexually transmitted infections like the chlamydia, gonorrhea, and other things. When you are exposed, as Brother Maxwell said, within your cervix too, it has its normal flora, meaning the normal bacteria that help prevent that place from any foreign bacteria entering there. So that inflammatory response that will go on there can lead to the inflammation of the cervix. At the same time, too, after some procedures, invasive procedures that can be conducted at the pelvic region, or those invasive procedures can also lead to cervicitis or can predispose you to death. Another thing is also about, as he said, putting some chemical exposure within. Always you want to insert some chemicals, always you want to insert something within. It can also predispose you, because there will be a fight between the normal cells there and the unhealthy thing that is coming. So in that attempt will lead to that inflammation. Then some people too, based on some family planning methods, some people react to condom, as people also use. And if someone is reacting to that, it can also lead to that inflammatory response causing that cervicitis. Then we can also have the cervical polyps. The polyps is like a bump. So it's an irregular growth on the cervix, and that too can also affect the cervix. And that can also occur when there is a block or a clot blocking the vessel supplying the cervix with blood, and that can also lead to a complication or an infection of the cervix. We can also have cervical atropium or erosion of the cervix. That's also something that can also affect the cervix. We can also talk about cervical cancer. Cancer means abnormal growth of the normal cells there, causing cancer. So these are some of the neglection, the implications we will get when we neglect to maintain the hygienic way of the cervix.
Oh, okay. So what I would add up is that all these other implications mentioned would can majorly affect your childbirth. It can affect your childbirth. But then the worst of it, or the worst case that we have seen, is that cancer that he talked about. That is very, very serious, especially when it becomes malignant. Then it means certain stern measures have to be uh, taken so as to protect the other organs from its metastasizing to those areas. So um, we should, I always say that we should be on the preventive front because that is the most beneficial. If we put in place measures to prevent all these implications, it would go a long way to help us rather than waiting and then getting into um, any of these conditions before trying to fight it. We should always be on the preventive front. But the major implication that it would have would be on childbirth, which would be a sad situation, especially in our generation.
Thank you so much because from all the implications that you have given us, most of them will end up into one if care is not taken. But before we go to the next question, I would like us to acknowledge our viewers. We've got some brother George Owusu Queen says, my sister is trying to take me through the female reproductive system into details. Keep it up, my dear. Thank you, brother. A brother continued to say that name, which is Mr. Ackon, is faithful. It's faithful in relationships, something inherited from family backgrounds. Or what's please. Let me finish with brother Sister Tai, and then you can answer him on that one. Sister Tai Mohammed says, good afternoon, Madam Hanna and our amazing guest. Great topic today. I'm enjoying it. Thank you so much, Sister Tai. Then please call everyone, all the friends, family members, let everyone know that this is very important. So they should also come for their share. Brother George, do you want to answer Brother George Owusu Queen on that for us before we continue?
My word, being faithful, you know that you look through the whole world and picked or selected a wonderful creature called a woman, named by how you call that person. Then he said you will live your life with. Therefore, it's your responsibility to keep staying with such individual, having any sexual intercourse with such individual, so that you will not predispose such individual to what we want to prevent here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother George. The answer to George. Okay, we move on then. So, what are the causes of cervical cancer? The reason why we are going to emphasize on cervical cancer is I think, is the week that we are creating awareness on that particular condition. And most of the implications relating to the cervix, if we don't take proper care of it or about it, it will lead into this without us knowing that that's where we are heading towards. I'm not saying that everyone or every condition relating to improper hygienic care of the service will lead into that. Some might have it without even though they are taking proper care of it. So if we are emphasizing on this particular topic, don't think that you don't need it. It's very important to every woman because sometimes you don't know it can be inherited. Anyway, we will go into that. I don't want to take the words that my guests will bring in there. So please continue to stay tuned, call friends and family members to join. At this moment, Auntie Humida from Amsterdam SDA Church, Secretary Deshiya says she is watching us. So Auntie Humida, continue to watch us and call everyone. Let the members of the Amsterdam SDHS know that there is a good news here that everyone should come on board so that we all take the journey together. Whoever is watching us, please send us high messages so that we can acknowledge you at this time. I shouldn't forget that Richmond Media is 1 year old. We are moving forward from nothing to something, because we started from nowhere, but by the grace of God, the vision that God gave to our CEO, we are continuing with embarking on that vision. And how far the Lord has brought us, we cannot stop thanking God. Our new logo, you can see that indeed having a golden logo, it says a lot about us. These are our members that we are working with. We do appreciate everyone that comes on this platform as a worker or as a viewer, because both of us are contributing to the progress of Richmond Media. So continue to watch us and continue to contribute. Share and like our videos, comment, so that the radio or the media will continue to move forward. I will also recommend that if you are sending money to Ghana, there is number one company that I'll recommend to you. That is OAPay. OAPay transfer money from everywhere that you are to Ghana. You just have to download the app from App Store and you'll be able to use it by sending money to your friends and family. Is it for school fees? Is it for hospital bills? Or is it are you hungry that there is no money on you, that urgently someone has to send money to the family member in Ghana? Please use OAPay. On your first transaction, if you use Richmond code RICHMO, you will get £7 on it. Why don't you try us and come and testify to all of us? I'm using it, so why can't you try? Try it today and you have a good news. Thank you so much, Brother Ackon and Mr. Owusu Ansah. At this moment, it's cervical cancer. What is it, please?
Okay. Wherever we talk about cervical cancer, we want our viewers and our listeners to understand that cancer is the big name, but what it means is that there are cells that helps maintain the growth and the hygienic or the health of a particular part. So when those cells malform or overgrow from its normal structure, then depending on where that occurred, we term it as cancer. So if the cells within the cervix overgrow or malformed, then we term it as cervical cancer. Now, the causes of cervical cancer is the human papilloma virus. So it's a sexually transmitted infection. But note that not everyone tested positive for human papilloma virus means that you will have the cancer. Because according to the Agency for Research of Cancers, they grouped the human papilloma virus into two groups. We have one that we will term as cancer causing. Then we have another type that will cause the warts. So you know that some human papilloma virus, some types, will be causing the genital warts and co. Then also the same human papilloma virus, some can affect men. Our penis, the skin of the penis. It can also go ahead to affect the vulva. It can also, when you talk about the vulva, means the outside of the vagina. It can also affect the anus. It can also affect the cervix, the vagina, the rectum. It can also affect your mouth and your throat. So when we are talking about human papilloma virus, it's a virus that is a sexually transmitted infection, one, and at the same time we have the two types, like the 16 and 18, that is responsible for causing cervical cancer. Therefore, whenever you get in contact with this sexually transmitted infection or the virus like the human papilloma virus, then you have the chances of getting or is a cause of cervical cancer. So we need to be mindful. The second cause, or that can make you risk of getting cervical cancer, is comparing someone who smokes to the other person who does not smoke. A woman who smokes is 2 times at higher risk compared to someone who does not smoke. So either you yourself being a primary smoker, or you are a secondary smoker, meaning you are inhaling the smoke from someone. At times too, you might not be smoking cigarette or tobacco, but any smoke that enters the system, what happens is that it affects the lungs. When it affects the lungs, it makes your blood impure. When your blood is impure, it means blood is moving to the cervix, but it might contain the food you have eaten, but the oxygen it will be lacking. So when the cervix receives, that is the food. He's eating though, but it will not grow well. Then you will have another malformation. So smoking is another form that we need to also be mindful. So we want to advise those who, I always say that cooking in their own room, inhaling those smokes, you need to be mindful, because every smoke that enters the system, the hair in your nostrils can trap dust, but it cannot trap smoke. So it will mix with your blood, becoming impure. Then also having a weakened immune system will predispose you, or you stand the higher risk of getting this condition than someone who have a strong immune system. So like immune conditions like the HIV is, when you're having the HIV virus, it weakens your immune system. So your ability to fight this virus, like the human papilloma virus, when you get into contact, will be impaired, and that will defeat you. And you might end up having this cancer we are talking about. The second thing is, most people who are taking a drug that suppresses the immune system. You know, we have a condition called the autoimmune system. Autoimmune system is that your body cells at times see some healthy cells at that particular area and will turn up attacking it like infection. When it happens like that, you can get some conditions like the arthritis, the bone issue, the diabetes type 1 and co. So most people taking drugs to suppress these autoimmune conditions stand at a higher risk of getting this cervical cancer. And some individual women who have received organ transplants. Comparing someone who have not received organ transplant, you also stand that higher risk. Another one I will talk about again for Brother Maxwell to come in is about in 1938 and 1971, they were using one drug, they call it the DES, in preventing miscarriage. And it has been researched and proving that some percentage of people who have been taken, who used or who received these things, stand at a higher risk of getting this condition, cervical cancer, than those who relative or grandparents did not receive such drug. So we need to also be mindful. Then sexual history. We have known that this human papilloma virus can affect the mouth, the throat, the anal region, the skin of the penis. So please, some sexual activities will predispose you of getting this virus, and if your immune system is not strong, can affect you. Like the oral sex. If you're having oral sex with someone who is being infected orally with this virus, he will introduce to you as a woman. Then you end up having this condition. And as a man, if you're also having oral sex with someone who is also infected with this virus, it means you are going to lick and swallow. And at the same time, it will affect you. We need to be mindful about it. Anal sex, so it means wherever it can also occur, we need to be mindful of it. And as I said, most people who have multiple partners, comparing to someone who is not having a multiple partner, when it comes to sexual history, you stand a higher risk. And according to Dr. Otto Warbeck said that in the presence of, he discovered cancer treatments and co. He said one of the speed that in the presence of an alkaline environment, no condition, including cancer, can strive. So individuals who eat low diet rich in fruit and vegetables, but more in fats and red meat and other junks, you stand higher risk of getting cancer. Why? Because your immune system will be weakened. It will predispose you to obesity, and at the same time, having it difficult preventing or your body's immune system overcoming this type of virus we are also talking about. So, Maxwell, you can add some to it.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. You have said almost everything. What I want to add is the fact that eh, um, continued exposure to radiation too can also bring about genetic mutation. You see, cancer comes about, as he explained, when the regular or normal principle that the cells have to follow to reproduce, to multiply, and then to grow in size. If that principle is altered, now the cell now follows an altered principle, and so whatever it brings out wouldn't be like the parent cell. It will be something else, causing great havoc. And what mostly brings about that genetic mutation, he has talked about them, but I want to re-emphasize anything that will cause a disorder in the biological arrangement, or the biological principles governing a cell's DNA. Anything that will bring about altering the principles governing the cell's DNA can predispose you to having cancer. And so when you are continually exposed to higher forms of radiation, for example, from um, our um, our electronic and radioactive and then technological devices such as the mobile phones. Some people they put the phones in their pockets for long hours. Others on top there, and then the higher forms of those um, electromagnetic forces, they get into the cell, and then they alter the cellular um, principles, causing the mutation. So I would say that continued exposure to radiations. Now back to the dietary aspect. You see, research has proven that um, continued exposure or recurrent infection is the major thing that causes the cancer. But it has been realized that uh, even people having the HPV, who now are aware and then follow the health principles, most especially that of the diet, they are ultimately relieved of this bad situation. So I would say that if you do not get the required nutrients and energy giving sources to your cells, and um, they get mutated, then you are in a very great um, problem. So I would say that we should be mindful. He has talked about the meat eating, and then I will also add that the processed foods, those preservatives and synthesized elements that we have in our foods. Ladies of today, I do not know why though, but maybe taste buds might have been, degraded in their functions. They want everything to uh, taste a particular way, so they end up putting all these inorganic spices into foods. That is not good. The thing is called preservative. It is going to alter the state of the cell in order to keep it for long. Sometimes it even kills the active cells, so that that state can be maintained. And you are putting all these into something that you are getting into your body. It is obviously going to cause havoc in the body. So inorganic elements, inorganic spices, they are harmful, I will say, to the individual, because whenever there is a mutation, then it means you are going to have. And then the other substances we introduce into the body, the deodorants, the detergents, those having the very high forms of elements that are in a way poisonous. We have to be mindful of that. And then uh, finally, I would say that if you want to put anything, no, you shouldn't even put anything into your vagina unless you have been assessed, and then it has been ruled out that what you are going to apply in a way would help you for a very short period of time. Because when you are on a treatment regimen, unless it has become chronic, that nothing else can be done about it, that is when they're going to put you on something for a longer period of time. So even if your health provider says you should put something there, I am sure it will be for a very little time. So please, be very mindful. Not Do not insert anything into the vagina orifice. And I know by God's grace we will be able to enjoy our health. Thank you very much.
Thank you
And
so
and I
much.
think one thing to add to the causes is long-term use of oral contraceptives. Long-term use of oral contraceptives will predispose you of getting this condition, although it will prevent you from pregnancy as you want to, but you stand at a risk of getting this thing. So that's what I want to add.
Thank you so much, brother Owusu Ansah and brother Ackon, for how far that in-depth explanation that has given us, also our viewers and myself, also in-depth understanding of how to care for the cervix, and if proper care is not being given or proper attention is not being given to it, the implications that it will cause. That is to all of us, both ladies and gentlemen. Though it's not your organ, but you will help, you will educate us to take proper care of it. Sister Ivona Samuel says, good afternoon. She says, nice topic and program as well. Thank you, Sister Yvonne, for watching us all the time. Brother Gavin says, good point, Maxwell. The processed food we are consuming is a major contributor to cancer. Our forefathers had no cancer because of their diet. Thank you, Brother Gavin, for that point. Sister Josephine Adebi says, wonderful presentation. God bless you, our guest. Thank you so much, our Sister Josephine. Continue watching us all the time, because if you are not here, we cannot present anything to you. Ladies and gentlemen watching us, and gentlemen, I think we don't have to rush on this topic. We'll rather come back to it for the second phase of it, so that we will be able to have time to expand our explanations and our answers to all of us and our viewers as well. Sister Georgia Nyamiche says, very informative. Well done, you all. Thank you so much, Sister Georgia, for watching us. Thank you, everyone, for your time and your love for this media. We really appreciate you, Mr. Owusu Ansah and Mr. Ackon. You know what? I do salute you, because you have given everything that needs to be given to all of us, myself, and then our viewers. So may God continue to protect us. Until the same time again next week, health issues coming to you, to your doorsteps from Richmond Media. Our golden logo show says that indeed the blessings of God has overshadowed us as we enter into our second year. May God continue to be with us. So the same time again next week, my name is Hanna Bimah. But right after this program, we're bringing to you another episode of From the Beginning Life Experience. Please join us, and God will bless you. Bye-bye for now. Thank you.
To be Giant